Hello, scholars. No dad joke today because we really need to talk about the War of 1812. And it's kind of a serious topic because people die in the war. Which, by the way, did you know that your pupils are the last thing, alive when you pass? Yeah, because they die late. Get it? They die late. Anyway, anyways, we're talking about the War of 1812. Uh, for my kids in 2020/2021 school year, periods 1 through 5 especially, I have a very important announcement at the end of this video. So make sure, well, if anything, well, I'm not going to tell you to fast forward to the end. That would be crazy, but stick with me here. You might have missed some of this. I want to make sure everything's clear. So here's the deal. We're looking at the War of 1812, and it seems really basic. It's really compact. It's only, what, 2.5 years? It goes from 1812, basically ends at 1814, and then there's like the final writing of the peace treaty goes into like January, and it's signed and confirmed by February of 1815. So like the shortest war ever. Wait till we get to the Mexican American War. But anyways, your guys' task was to write just a kind of a summary paragraph. But remember, it's a faulty fix-it paragraph where you want to kind of lay everything out, but include approximately 10 errors. Remember, we're supposed to be able to fix the mistakes. So we want to do that. And already in your assignment over here, I've kind of focused on, I think there was 6 or 7 like main topics. I'm going to even distill it more. Let's just focus on what we really need to focus on. And that's the deal. That's what's going on here. There's these slides, and it's really like that's all we have about the War of 1812. Well, don't worry. I've got some stuff to help you bite into it, but also to really focus on. So here's the deal. We talked about Madison is going to start or ask Congress to start the War of 1812. Big deal there. But also, one of the big issues is the Federalist Party is going to go kaput because of their Hartford Convention. They kind of look like fools. I talked to you guys about that already. I'll hit it again in a few minutes. And there's going to be a Treaty of Ghent. That's in Belgium. Ghent, Belgium. Yeah, it's in Belgium. So remember, you go to neutral ground to sign a peace treaty. That way, no one gets like ambush, surprise, that thing. So we have a treaty signed. That's in December of 1814. So we've got a real short war here. Now remember, they don't have Twitter, they don't have the Gram, the Facebook, the Snap, the whatever you guys. They didn't even have Telegram. Well, it's getting close to Telegram time, but not yet. So that paper has to travel on a boat, and that's going to take several weeks to happen. So there's going to be a delay, and many things happen during that delay. Even then, the big deal with the War of 1812 is even like the outcomes. Like there's nothing. Here's the big deal: nothing is really resolved. None of the causes of the war were resolved by the Treaty of Ghent. It's it's like it's laughable, it's dumb, but there are things that come out of the War of 1812. That there's things that are like fascinating little subtopics, but then there are also important outcomes, totally unintended, like no one knew, but we're just trying to stop the harassment of our shipping, impressment of our sailors, and arming the terrorist Native Americans on our western frontier, which of course they would tell you they're freedom fighters. You guys keep breaking treaties. But anyways, those are the main things. None of those are going to get resolved. If we go back 2 slides, there's this cool video that Mike Maheen, shout out to Mike Maheen, period 3. He recommended. It's Course Hero. He uses them all the time. He's getting me on their bandwagon. He made me subscribe. But it's a good video, and it tells you Britain is pretty weak during that time. Not weak, but they are preoccupied. We have our own issues. So here's some of the interesting facts. I'll come back to that. Sorry, I kind of went out of order. Uh, Once England turns their full attention, once they reach a kind of decisive point with Napoleon, and Napoleon's world domination dreams are on hold, they're going to take all their best troops that have just gone through HE double hockey sticks, and they're it's Friday. Anyways, they're going to bring their best troops, and now they're going to start hammering the United States. It's no more of their like little Boy Scout troops they had in here before. They're going to bring in the big boys and the big guns, and things start to turn. And that's how they come up the Chesapeake. They go through Baltimore. There's battle at Fort McHenry over here. This one, they're going to go up to Washington D.C. They sack it. They burn it down. Thankfully, Dolly Madison was there. Look up Dolly Madison. Interesting story there. But she gets the big portrait, puts it in a carriage, and like splits out of there. I think they also get like the silverware, and they get in the carriage and right out of there, right as the British troops are coming up, and they torch that thing down. We didn't have insurance. That's a dumb joke. It wasn't. Anyways, yeah, that's embarrassing. Like we get punched in the teeth by the British Army. They come in and just burn down our capital. But still, they don't have complete control of the United States. They're going to try a couple other things, such as New Orleans. and try to pinch us off there. But they're showing us they're taking this for real now. But then also, but here's like the American resistance. We don't give up. Maybe that's what America's good at. Maybe, I don't know. We just don't give up. And so there's the whole Fort McHenry thing where Francis Scott Key, I was telling my other classes about this. He's visiting his buddy who's a prisoner of war. They had prison ships sitting in the harbor, and he goes over to visit him because his buddy was a rich guy. So like if you're rich, you get special prison visit capability. So he's having tea or whatever. They go to bed, the battle's raging, and they wake up and, oh, say, by the dawn's early light. Now that sunrise we can see, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? What's so, oh yeah, what's so gallantly streaming, the broad stripes, 13 stripes of the flag, and bright stars that so gallantly, made it through the perilous night. You can Google the lyrics. It's tough to come up with a song on the tip of your tongue and all that jazz. So anyways, this is going down because he wakes up the next morning. He's drinking either coffee or tea, probably tea because he's on a British ship. Remember, it's a prison ship. And it's like, oh boy, look at that. Can you see Fort McHenry still there? The flag is still waving over the ramparts. Man, last night there was bombs going off. Let's see, rockets, red glare, bombs bursting in the air. Ooh, it looked pretty bad because remember, the British Navy is 400 ships and they're throwing everything at us again. Our Navy was 6 ships. Our Army had been shrunk by Jefferson and Madison. Remember, cut down the federal spending. Dang, but you know what? I always think that's kind of a good idea now. Maybe this is a lesson I should take from history. But anyways, so Francis Scott Key's writing this poem. It's a long poem. We shorten it to an anthem. It doesn't become the national anthem for a lot longer. I'm already taking too long. I better hurry up. But so this is where that comes from. The British, and this is kind of a theme for the War of 1812. We survived the Battle of Fort McHenry. So technically that means we won that battle. Yeah, same thing with the War of 1812. They don't beat us. It totally ends up in a stalemate, a tie. But we consider that, well, they didn't beat us. We're not a colony again, so we won the War of 1812. It's more like a tie, stalemate. And again, nothing gets resolved. But we do get some interesting stories. Sorry, I was just adjusting this and I forgot to bring this image forward. But there's the Battle of New Orleans under General Andrew Jackson, again, future president, Donald Trump's favorite prior president, had his portrait up. And the big deal is that battle, that big decisive victory where America, after we kind of barely survive everything else for the second half of this war, we win a big battle. And so, hey, we didn't lose, we survived. But hey, look, we won. And the war's over anyway. So USA, USA. And that's how we get this idea that we really kick some butt. But really, it was a trite affair. There's small potatoes because I made this meme. Let me move me over here. So check this out. Yeah, see, he's just not that into you. No one was really into this war until it was really going, and then it's just everyone got sick of it. So like, instead of fighting and wasting money, let's just sign a truce and all right, let's be done with it. We'll just be mad at each other, and that's what's going to happen. So here are the topics that I think are really important. But mostly, my advice to students is take a look at the effects and the outcomes. So that means we look at the treaty. Okay, it's the treaty again. You don't need to like memorize what's written there. But we need to look at the outcomes after the War of 1812. And those things tend to all be positive for the United States. Again, we didn't really get any concession from the British. So we didn't get anything about impressment, freedom of the seas, or arming Native Americans. They kind of, no, we're not going to sign that. No. So, okay, fine. Well, war's over. So, man, I can go on and on. This is like fascinating topic right here. This is the Native Americans' like last chance to unite a confederacy. This is kind of broken right at the outset of the War of 1812. Story of Tecumseh and his brother, the Prophet. Fascinating story. I could go on. You already do go on. That's the Native Americans' last shot. Everything after this is going to be kind of piecemeal, sticking up for themselves, but we kind of steamroll the Native Americans after this. Attacking Canada. We try to do this again. It's never going to happen. They don't want us to liberate them. They like being part of the British Empire, and yeah, that ain't going to happen. Now, these highlighted ones down here are also the big topics. And I just talked about this. Britain is going to finally get to focus on the War of 1812 and lay some smackdown again, but we survived. That's kind of like a main thing to talk about because they do burn down the White House, kind of a big deal. Here's my thing about our national anthem. But the big deal is Hartford Convention and the Battle of New Orleans. Two things that happen basically right at the same time. I've got a timeline a few slides later. They're happening right at the same time as the treaty is coming out. So these are fascinating topics. This is something to think of because these are some of the outcomes. Here's your book. This is page 249, and it talks about the Hartford Convention, Treaty of Ghent. So right here, this is going on in December through January. So this is the Hartford Convention. I'll talk about that in 1 second. The Treaty of Ghent is signed December 24th. So what, Christmas Eve? in December of 1814. It doesn't get approved in the United States. Some things say January, some things say February. So like, takes a month to get finally approved by Congress and kind of get publicized. So the war has technically been over since Christmas Eve of 1814, but there's stuff still going on because there's no Twitter, no Gram, no email, no phones. So here's what's going down. Let's see. This up. Here's our timeline, and I'll come back to that. So the Treaty of Ghent is signed in December of 1814, but right at that time, December through January 15th, that's the Hartford Convention. It's New England Federalists get together. They're sick of the war because if we're at war with England, we're not trading with England. That means they're not making money. They're all about that. Federalists want business, industry, all that jazz to just be going. They want to make their profits. War is disrupting that. So they get together. They have a little political party meeting up in Hartford, Connecticut. Let's sign a secret treaty and let's go behind Congress's back. Let's go behind President Madison's back. Let's go straight to the king. Shoot, we could even secede from the United States. Sounds like a great idea. I don't know where this accent comes from, but that's what they do. They formulate this plan, they write it all down, and they're about to act on it when all of a sudden the news comes out. There's the Treaty of Ghent. That comes out. And right at the same time, so that's big news. That's good news. And even better news comes out. The Battle of New Orleans is going to go down on January 8th, 1815. And that news of that comes out at the same time. The Battle of New Orleans was the big win. The British are taking their ships. They're going to New Orleans. We've already talked about how important New Orleans was at the time. And they're launching a big old attack. And the only thing that's between them and kicking some U.S. butt, again, this is after the war, which is weird, but no one knows, is Andrew Jackson. Nickname is Old Hickory because he's a tough son of a gun. And what he does is he looks around and goes, oh, God, that's a British naval fleet. There's the British Army with their crack troops fresh from the front lines in France. They're awesome troops, great Navy. Ooh, and look at that commander. He's the really famous admiral's brother. He's pretty kick butt. Dang! And all they had was a small garrison of Army troops. Well, he gets the U.S. Army troops. He gets the local militia. He gets slaves from that area. He gets Native Americans, the friendly Native Americans, because actually Andrew Jackson also gets his name, kind of gets fame from just defeating the not nice, not friendly Native Americans just on the other side of New Orleans. But he gets Army, militia, slaves, natives, and he gets pirates. How tough do you have to be to get pirates to sign up for you? Well, maybe not, because if you think about Jack Sparrow and the Pirates of the Caribbean, they would have hated the British Navy. But still, it sounds cool. So he gets this motley crew together, and they take the local crop. They take the bales of hay that no one's trading because the British Navy's kicking our butt and harassing our shipping. So they get all these big, huge bales of cotton, and they make these breastwork and ramparts, fortifications. And they put those up, and they also surround them with logs. I can't find my confirmation of those palmetto logs. That's from another battle too, but I swear I read something one time where they put palmetto logs. So it's big, not just cotton balls, not cotton pillows, but one student said it was the greatest pillow fort ever assembled. True. So they have big, huge cotton bales, 2,000 pound, big old wrap ups of cotton. Those are there, and they surround them with palmetto. I think that's what I heard. I remember that one time. And they buttress them with palmetto logs, which is a spongy, corky wood. So when the British roll up, they just see these motley, dumb-looking Americans. Kind of remember, this is the Western frontier, kind of rednecky. No, I don't mean that negatively. That would have been what the British said, and that's why we don't like British people. Shoot, okay. Anyways, so the British are like, oh, we got this. And they just start blasting because they have their naval ships right there. They got their army detachment right there. They blast away. Well, the cotton and the palmetto trees just absorb like SpongeBob. And the Americans ha ha, suckers. And the British are coming straight down the pipe and just pop, 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 pop. The Americans demolished the much larger British army. So this is a huge victory. So this all comes out. Win at the biggest battle that anyone cares about, because we only care about, people care about the ones they win, especially when it's right, clutch. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, overtime. And that's what this is. So treaty, we didn't lose, so we win the war. And we won the last battle, so we definitely won the war. And New England Federalists, what did you try to do? You're trying to go behind our backs, stab us in the back, kiss up to England again. And oh my God, you guys are lace curtain, lily white, punk, blah, 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 any, things you want to throw in there. But basically, America's just what's the thing? Federalists, you guys are done. Whew, you guys are done. No one's going to be a Federalist ever again. So big deal comes out of there, but also don't forget these things. We defend our victory from the American Revolution. we get pride, unity, nationalism. We feel good about ourselves. We feel like we're a legit country, and we get respect from European powers. So yeah, we are legit. They can't push us around anymore because they know we'll go to war, and we can kind of, yeah, we can defend ourselves. This is America, USA, USA. So yeah, and the next chapter you're going to see we have all these treaties with Spain, with England, with France, and we start making like peaceful negotiations because they realize they don't want to have to fight with those people from America. Manufacturing development. This is kind of the biggest one that seems kind of boring, but if we can't trade with England and France and get their stuff, where are we going to get it? We got to start making our own. And that's how I feel about oil today. I don't want the United States to have to depend on Middle Eastern countries in tumultuous political situations. Shoot, we've got our own oil, and let's get on this solar panel car business thing. Like, let's get that going. Same thing back then. We don't have to depend on Europe anymore. We can trade with them, but we don't need to depend. There's a huge difference. You know, you want to be like independent. Yeah. And then last thing, Americans see that, again, this is like another issue where we see this need for a strong central government because Matt Jefferson had kind of streamlined things, shrunk things a bit. Navy, Army, yeah. Madison, same, and didn't renew the charter of the National Bank. And all of a sudden, when the poop hits the fan, you kind of need a strong central government. So those are some of the things we've come out of there with. Now, again, to double check, yeah, got all these things, Yeah, that's what comes out of the War of 1812, and I think that's what I want to get across to you. Someday I'll tell you about Tecumseh and how his little brother ruined things. I already told you about Andrew Jackson. All kinds of good stuff comes out of here. But that's the deal. So the big announcement. Uh, it's February 26th. We've been doing this distance learning for a long time. I didn't want this faulty fix-it paragraph thing to be homework. I thought we'd have no problem kind of knocking it out in class, or at least, getting the ball rolling hard, leave you with a little bit to just polish off and finish. Didn't really happen. I don't need you guys to have homework. I don't need you guys to have extra stress. If you guys are at your breaking point and you just need a get out of jail free card, do me a favor. You don't need to do this assignment. Um, I am going to assess you on this. I'll probably throw some at you on Monday. So I do want you to, read one of those three sources. I want you to watch one of those three sources. I want you to know what you're talking about. If you can do that, I don't need you to turn in a document. So make sure you do the work, the research, make sure you know it. But if you need a get out of jail free card or no homework pass, do me a favor, like click the turn in button with nothing, or however, you guys know that part better than me, but make sure you leave a comment that says either homework pass or using my homework pass or using my get out of jail free card. Put that in there. If you don't put that in there, I just assume you don't do it. But if you need this one off, you have my permission. It won't affect you. I'll put an NA in the grade book. It won't affect you. It won't negatively impact you. If you do it, just be creative, have fun with it. Don't take forever on it. Just make it look like you know what you're talking about. I'm trying to give you guys points. So you make the choice, but let me know where you're at. Okie dokie. Take care of yourself. Learn your history. Know the rules to break them effectively. Something like that. History is important, but so is getting through this stuff. So do your thing. Show up strong on Monday and Tuesday. I'll see you then.